was a time when sports video games didn't take themselves so seriously. They knew they were games first, not simulators, not digital contracts for realism, just games you play for fun. I miss that era. I miss when sports games could make me laugh before it tried to impress me. I mean, think about it. When was the last time a modern sports game surprised you in a goofy way? Exactly. Seems all we have today is 2K, Madden, and FC leading the charge. But when I was growing up, sports games felt playful, they felt alive, they felt like the developers were having fun making them. Now they feel like boardroom products. Back then you would boot up a game and immediately notice something weird. Big heads, cartoonish animations, over-the-top sound effects, and instead of asking why is this unrealistic, you'd ask, why is this so fun? NBA Jam is the easiest example. Players caught on fire after a few shots, they jumped 10 feet in the air, there were no fouls, no free throws, just chaos. Was it realistic? Not even close. Did anyone care? Not at all. You weren't trying to recreate a broadcast, you were trying to embarrass your friend on the couch next to you. NFL Blitz did the same thing. Late hits were encouraged. Players suplexed quarterbacks after the whistle. The announcer yelled like he was watching a street fight. I remember laughing every time someone got hit after a play. You knew it was wrong, but that made it better. Then later came some of my favorites, such as the NBA Street Series and the NFL Street Series, where we got better graphics than NBA Jam and Blitz, but the fun factor was still there, and the over-the-top gameplay was still there. Another game that stood out for me was Ready to Rumble, and I wasn't even a boxing fan, but I loved how the game was silly and didn't take itself serious, but most importantly, it was a good time. There was no fear of image back then. No concern about brand alignment. The game had personality. Even the more realistic titles had silliness back then. Early Madden games had cheat codes that gave you big helmets and tiny players, outfits that made no sense. You could break the illusion on purpose, and that mattered, because it reminded you that this was a toy, not a replacement for Sunday Night Football. FIFA had arcade modes too. Indoor soccer, power shots, crazy physics. You could play a serious match or you could turn it into nonsense. The choice was yours. Now look at modern sports games. They chase realism like it's the only goal that matters. Sweat physics, face scans, broadcast overlays, commentary that tries to sound like real TV. Yeah, I will admit, it's impressive, but is it fun? That's the question nobody seems to ask anymore. When I load up a modern sports game, I feel pressure. Pressure to play correctly, pressure to grind, pressure to optimize. It really doesn't feel playful. Modes are designed to keep you engaged, not entertained. Daily challenges, seasons, battle passes, even offline modes feel stiff. You can't just mess around. Try doing something silly in today's NBA 2K. The game fights you. Animations are locked, physics are controlled, anything that breaks realism gets patched out. The game doesn't want you to laugh, it wants you to stay invested. There's a difference. I remember creating over-the-top players as a kid. 7-foot guards, tiny centers, stats maxed out in all the wrong places. The game let me do it. Now, customization feels restricted, balanced, sanitized, like fun has to be approved first. Why did this happen? Well, part of it is money. Sports games became live services. They stopped being one-time purchases. They became ecosystems. Silly modes don't monetize well. Microtransactions do. You can't sell realism breaking chaos as easy as you could sell card packs. Another part is licensing. Leagues want control, athletes want respect, and brands want consistency. Nobody wants to see their star player with a giant head anymore. They want realism, and that's understandable. But something got lost along the way, because when everything is authentic, nothing feels playful. Even the presentation feels heavy. Menus look like stock trading apps, music feels curated for ads, the tone is serious at all times. Where's the joy? Where's the wink to the player? Where's the reminder that this is supposed to be fun? I mean, some later older games still tried. NBA Street Home Court tried to keep the silliness alive. So did SSX for Extreme Sports. These games leaned into style. They embraced exaggeration. They knew sports could be expressive. They didn't need to mirror reality to be exciting, and people loved them. So why did publishers move away from that? Well, because realism became a selling point. Screenshots mattered, trailers mattered. Look how real this looks became the headline, not look how fun this feels. And we get it. We get that technology improved, expectations changed, but realism shouldn't have replaced creativity. It should have existed alongside it. Why can't a sports game have both? Why can't I choose arcade chaos one night and simulation the next? Why does everything have to feel like a broadcast? When I play older sports games now, I notice something else. They're faster, not just in gameplay, in spirit. They don't waste my time. No unskippable cutscenes, no endless menus, no pop-ups asking me to buy something. I'm playing within seconds. That matters. You feel free to try dumb things. Modern sports games punish that. Make one bad pass, you lose momentum. Your stats drop. Your virtual currency suffers. The game teaches you to play safe. Old games taught you to have fun. And fun is unpredictable, it's messy, it's loud, it's sometimes stupid. And that's what made those games memorable. I don't remember my most realistic match. I remember the time I dunked from the three-point line. I remember breaking tackles that made no sense. I remember laughing with friends on the couch. That's the part that stuck. Not the accuracy, not the realism, the feeling. You know, sports themselves are serious enough. They come with pressure, money, expectations. Sports games don't need to copy that weight. They can be an escape. They can exaggerate. What makes sports exciting? Speed, power, emotion. When sport games were allowed to be silly, they felt more honest. They admitted they were games. And maybe that's what we need again. Not a rejection of realism, just room for joy. Let the ball catch fire. Let players fly. Let rules bend. Give us modes that exist just to make us smile. Ask yourself, if a sports game can't make you laugh, even once, what's the point? Because I don't remember the last time a modern sports game did. And I honestly think that says a lot.